And hey everyone, this is episode 488. This is of the OotiniCast being recorded on 15th of May 2024, and this is the raw version of the show that goes out with all flubs and flaws intact, and then we clean up the audio and put it out as a podcast tomorrow. The raw video feed is being sent out on twitch.tv/OotiniCast, and then we will also take the video version and that will go up on YouTube as well. Alright, so let me go ahead and just let folks know that we're live, and then we can get going. We sort of started the stream a little later than we usually do.
That was my fault.
No.
It was Kanji Club's fault.
Alright.
Are you posting on Twitter?
Yeah, I think so. I will.
Okay.
Alright, that looks good. Ugh. Post not sent. God damn it. Let's try it again. If it doesn't go out on this one, I'll put it on my personal one on my desktop. Okay.
Hello. Get some hype going.
It's just not working, man. Okay, so I'm gonna just have to do it on my personal one. Hang on a sec.
Is that because
I don't know. It just says I won't send.
Musk heard you talking shit about him?
All right, well, it's out on my personal one at least. So we did what we could. All right, so let me have a little water and then I'm ready to go. You ready, Kitty? You got your Audacity rolling and all that good stuff?
That is correct.
Okay, let me actually also make sure my microphone is right where it should be.
Reposted.
Thank you.
Of course.
Oh, tastes good. It's just water, but
He drank that like a freaking Viking.
in college, I was in a play where the character it was a comedy, and the character gets drunk on stage, and we decided to exaggerate it by having me literally finish a bottle of vodka on stage, like all in one go, but not with vodka, of course.
Okay.
But with water, which was still a lot of water. Like it was a fifth of water, so it was like,
oh no way!
It was like more than a quart of water, and I drank it in I would drink it every night in like 20 seconds. It was fun to do.
I hope you weren't on stage very long.
And apparently my fellow actors were very tempted on maybe on the last night to substitute actual alcohol to see what would happen.
Night time.
It would, right. Well, when you're drinking that fast, you won't taste it instantly, but so I would probably get like a couple of good swallows before my body would immediately probably choke it all out. Yeah. Which unfortunately wouldn't work very well for the character, because the character was supposed to be like this total souse who would have gone through his entire adult life drinking. So
right.
Anyway. All right.
You're like an onion, Chill. I just learn more about you all the time.
That's right. I'm an ogre.
I said onion.
All right, I'm ready if you're ready.
Good to go.
Okay, going in 5 here. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that told it to Kanji Club. This is episode 488, being recorded on Wednesday, May 15th, 2024. I'm your host, Chill, and with me as my co-host, KittyKissz. Hey, Kitty.
Hi, Chill.
Yeah, and so last time we didn't have you. We had Caver76, and he was a great guest. But we did get you back this time, and so what you been up to since last we saw you?
Well, something I did that I haven't done in a long time was I listened to OotiniCast.
I suppose so, yeah. Normally it's not necessary.
Because I don't like to hear my own voice, so I usually don't listen. Every once in a while, I'll go back and listen just to kind of, check my volume, maybe find some weird, weird way that I say something to change it up, maybe
Right.
make it a little bit better and maybe be more concise, whatever. But yeah, it was cool. I was like, hey, there we go. And plus, I forgot about that when you mix it, when you do the post stuff, you put in music and stuff like that. I haven't heard the music. I haven't heard John Paul Hogby in a long time.
We just mentioned his name.
I was like, Jean Paul Hogby. So that was kind of neat.
Yeah. I used one of the Darren DePaul Utini rages that we have. So
that thing's a gem.
Those are he actually gave us 4, and so I just what I do is I just do one of the 4 basically.
Right. Yeah. That's cool though. So I did some PvP with you, and every once in a while we would pick up a straggler that would come along, which I love. I think it's really fun because especially, it seems like more than not that we would win when it was you, myself, and someone else.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't notice that pattern, but it's certainly possible.
Yeah, I think in the last one, the last person we picked up was actually level 79 or something like that. They were pretty high level. Yeah. And so, we actually got some wins, which was good.
Right.
Because I know that you were trying to finish the season.
Yes. So, yeah. And it makes sense that might work actually, especially with those characters, because we were different specs, but one was a sharpshooter, one was a sniper, so we were very same. So we didn't have a lot of coverage of different styles of play or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
and usually it seemed like one of us, if they were going to be tunneling, one of us would go down. Like
usually, they would pick one of us, and then and it would be pretty rough. It got a lot easier once we got our role, I noticed. We were less, because you can let them beat on you for a little bit, and then you've got your you're usually hunker down going, so they can't actually see you, and then at some point you roll away, and if you do it in a depending on where you are, sometimes it can be a little disorienting, like they won't know exactly which direction you went, so they won't be able to immediately get back on you. So
yeah, I hate that when other snipers and do that to me, but I like doing it to other people. So it was
definitely a good thing to have.
It level was 60. Super fun. I got burned out at the end.
Right. It is hard. Like once you hit level 25 and you're done with the season, it's like a big part of the reason for doing it. It just has gone, and so you're left with just missions and just love of the game or whatever. But we know how far love of the game takes us. I mean, we love the game, and yet it's not a huge priority for, it's not like the only way to get us going.
No, it's something that I look forward to when it's coming, and I'm already looking forward to it again. I think that the way that we've found that we both enjoy it by leveling up characters with PvP is really fun. But once my character kind of got, I was up in the 70s, I don't know, something happened to where I didn't find it as fun. I think it's because marksman is such a repetitive rotation.
Right.
It's just the same thing every time and blah, blah, blah. And I found like when I'd roll, I'd get stuck or whatever. Yeah. And it just got a little frustrating. I think it got a little boring. And then, people just tunneling you when they're, there's that. Yeah. Got to kill them. And I think another thing is that I'm just not as good at marksman or sharpshooter than I am at other stuff. So it got a little frustrating. But it was fun, and I wanted you to finish it this time.
Yeah, well, we got very close. All I needed was a few more things. So what
you got it?
I did, in fact. On the very last, so I started leveling. We'll get back to your week in a second, but since we're going this way, So I started a Selena Kyle, a Catwoman cosplay, and I'll talk about that more. But anyway, when she was like I waited till she was like 35 before I started doing PvP because, you know, again, you're going to get tunneled, you know, as any sort of squishy, and she's a shadow.
Oh,
and so did some dailies and, you know, and got a couple of this and that done. And because of double XP, the XP was coming really fast. And then I was level 43 and I finished a Warzone, and it happened to be both a daily and a weekly. And I jumped from 43 to 45. And so I would have been IB. But fortunately, it was also the one that put me over the top for level 25 on the PvP season. So that actually got it done, so I didn't have to worry about it. So the timing was really, it was really tight.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I was doing a little bit of just leveling a character. In fact, I could talk about it right now. I'm leveling my Darth Kenny Rogers character, which is basically the only thing I want is the character's name is Kenny Rogers, and the only thing I want is to get that Darth title. That's it. That's all I want to do with this character. But I've been having a lot of fun with it, and since I play a lot of, I play a lot of Sentinel, and I play a lot of Marauder. Marauder. You know, I'm like, I'm gonna try some other stuff. So I've been doing Annihilation and Carnage. Kind of just trying out some new stuff, and I've really been enjoying Annihilation, and it was the first Sentinel that I ever tried, and I hated it. I couldn't stand it, and so it's been maybe 4 or 5 years since I played Annihilation again. And I'm really liking it. Maybe
I'm trying to remember,
it's changed a little bit throughout.
I'm sure it has to some degree. Yeah,
I don't know,
is that the dot spec, or is that? Which
dot
one?
Spec.
It is the dot spec. Okay. That's what I thought, but I wasn't 100%. Right.
I also have Carnage.
I've had troubles with that one too. I remember I tried it out on Betty White. Like I made a Betty White cosplay when Betty White passed, and I made a character to sort of honor her. And all I did was level her up. And I was doing that, the dot spec on her, and I was having a hard time making it, like figuring out exactly how it was supposed to work. So.
Right. Well, we were talking about what your favorite build is, because I was playing Juggernaut or Guardian, and that used to be my main, but I haven't really played one solid for a while, and I just loved it again. And so, and I was playing the dot spec, and I thought, you know what, I have not touched the Annihilation spec, and I asked chat, what's your favorite type of what's your favorite to play on DPS? Do you like burst damage? Do you like dot? Do you like or the mix between? Right. And some people were saying that they like the dot spec, but I went, Annihilation, man, I played it and I just don't like it. And someone in chat said, give it a chance, because it doesn't really start to take effect until later on in the build. Right. And I've noticed that it's already gotten a little bit better. And nice. And what level is he now? It. I think I hit 50.
Oh, okay.
About 50. So, that's over halfway through. And I know that there's, a lot of the key stuff comes at the later levels. Yeah. I find that. But it's fun.
Yeah. And I found that just in general with dot specs, they tend to come together a little later. Like there's a little more synergy that kind of has to happen in order to make them really work. Whereas, if you're doing direct damage, it's like, okay, well, if you don't have this proc or that proc, well, your basic abilities hit pretty hard, and they're designed to hit pretty hard all up front, so it kind of works. And the dot specs, it's like, if you put your two little pew pew dots on them, and there's no synergy, and there's no way
that's what I was doing all day.
Yeah, and there's no way to pop them or anything. Or to force them to crit or anything like that. It's like they just sit there and tick every few seconds, and it just doesn't feel like much is happening. So and I think Madness is like that. The Sniper one is kind of like that. It's a little bit better, but you still have to get like halfway up the tree on that one. I think a lot of the dot specs kind of tend to be like that.
Yeah, that's kind of what a light bulb went off in my head when I was thinking about trying to do Annihilation, because I was like, you know what, I'm going to do Carnage again. see if I like it. It's never I've enjoyed it, but it's never been like my favorite. So I like to periodically go back and play a spec that I've played in the past, hoping that, you know, what's happening with Annihilation happens. You know, because if you have a character and, you know, 2 out of 3 of the specs on that character are fun, you're gonna have so much more fun on it.
Yeah.
So I like to keep my fingers crossed and go in but Annihilation, it's really fun. I recommend checking it out.
Nice.
I know you said that Betty White, you know,
yeah, I had a hard time
your
with
favorite, but
yeah,
it's yeah, I don't know. At least it clicked for me. So Darth Kenny Rogers is out there. I also noticed that today, because it was double XP, and I was like, I wanted to, you know, get a couple levels, because now that I'm enjoying the class, I want to see what happens with the other abilities that you get up the levels. And I was running some flashpoints, and I was grabbing aggro like crazy, and I was the lowest level in the group. And so I'm like, okay, there's something, I'm doing something right. I don't think I'm playing it correctly, but, you know, I'll have to go through and reread the skill tree over and over again.
Right.
Like, okay, wait, all right, what's okay, I get it. Okay. But it takes me a while, but eventually I'll get it. But yep, that has been really fun. Another thing I did is I had to go on to test server and check out.
Oh, nice.
Well, one, I wanted to go check out what's coming on the cartel market, just to give it a look.
Okay.
Because Space Bobby! And then I wanted to check out Hutta, because it's changed.
Right.
And it looks so good.
That's cool.
The planet has a completely different vibe now, which is really
that'll be
cool.
fun to try out for sure.
I'm really looking forward to seeing the new area. I don't know if it's not available or what, but I couldn't get there to the new spot on Hutta.
Oh, okay.
But the original Hutta, because they've added some stuff and enhancements to the graphics.
Right.
It's awesome. Looks really cool. It's
Very
really cool.
cool.
I think people are going to really like it. So looking forward to that. I hit
Excellent.
level 72 in Galactic Seasonings.
Wow.
And
nice.
Every level I go up, I get excited that I get a thing, but then I get sad because I'm getting closer to the end. And then I always look, how long do I have? Maybe it's only, you know, like a week or 3 weeks that I'm going to have to sit through while Galactic Seasoning peters out. But no, it's like months. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's right. Because I was gonna say, because I'm only like, on most servers, I'm like 45, 47, something like that. So I've got a long ways to go, because I was away for a couple of weeks. And so, yeah, I have a little way, I'm trailing, but yeah, there's plenty of time left to finish. So
yeah, you got a lot of time. And I'm not even trying. I'm just playing the way I play.
Right.
But
Falson's saying it'd be interesting to see if the Hutta changes will affect Karaga's Palace, the operation. And that's a good point. I actually have no idea. I wouldn't be surprised if it did, because we know that some of the assets, you know, in before you go into the palace itself, you know, there are trees in that first area, and you know, there's the Hutt Palace, which is a lot like the Hutt palaces from main Hutta. So maybe I wouldn't at all be surprised if it changed it as well, but I don't know. I don't know
either.
Yeah.
That's a great question though.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yep. And have you taken advantage of all the unlocks and all that?
I did.
Stuff?
I unlocked some stuff. Today's the last day, so
That's
I went
right.
through and made sure that I had all the necessary things. And now tomorrow, the thing that I need is going to go on sale on the Galactic Seasonings or the cartel market, because that's always the case. If I get it, then it goes on sale. My luck. Whatever. But and I think doesn't have anything to do with SWOTOR, but I did some spring cleaning, and good Lord, it feels so good to just do that. I spent my day off just cleaning. I must have been like 6 hours or more cleaning. Just, it feels so good. And now it's all sunny. I got the windows the blinds are letting all
Open,
the
yeah.
sunlight in. It's just it's so great.
That sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it's a God dang. I had a funny segue. I was gonna I just remembered it. And now to SWOTOR's Walter Cronkite.
Yes.
Chill, what's up with you?
Well, here we are. All right, so let's see who's in the chat. Ava's here, Lonely Girl's here, 8 HVDS, 8 Row, Atel, Donk7, DeRozan, Drapsnat, Erica Paye, Frame Rates, Japeo's here, Immortalized Love is here, Intezar Noir, Cows Corporation is here, Treats is here, Mirzinks, Phelan, Professor Darth Yoda, Regresses, Rockin', Squishy Twitchy, Tarsai, and Zestiki are all here. Hey, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
And yeah, so some of it we've already talked about. So we've done the PvP. We both got up to level 25 on the PvP season. And the PvP season will be longer next time, so we'll have a little bit more to do. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like I said, I made a Selena Kyle cosplay. And I'll talk a little bit more about some certain details, but anyway, I use double XP, and it's kind of rare for me. Like, despite the fact that I level a lot on stream, I tend not to use double XP a ton. Like, I end up, like doing other things that don't really involve leveling or level me very slowly, like doing chapters. Even double XP, if you're doing chapters, you're going really slow. I guess that's how bad the XP is in the chapters.
Oh, they're terrible. Yeah.
So it was actually kind of rare for me to actually start a character right near the start of double XP and then like just crank through the levels. So she's like all the way up to level 60 now, and that's only been like, it's been a couple weeks basically. She is doing the warrior story, but she's a shadow infiltration as far as abilities go. So,
I see Vet back there.
Yeah, exactly. I have a picture of her. So I was kind of going for the Arkham Asylum look for Catwoman. She wears there's no eared hood or eared cap in the game, but she wears like goggles that look very similar to these, and she also has like the high collar and the choker, which so I use the one outfit that has that. And I also use the Mark Ragnos's or whatever it's called gloves that has the spikes at the end.
Oh,
no, not on the sides, on the fingertips. Yeah, on the fingertips.
Oh, really?
So yeah, on the fingertips. So you can kind of see on the picture one of her thumbs is kind of pointy, and that's because the ends of all, like the last knuckle of every finger is actually a metal spike.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which is a very Catwoman thing. So it looks very cool, and so yeah, really happy with the look. We'll talk more about the voice actor Gray Griffin, because she's a voice actor for SWOTOR. But I'll talk more about that in a little bit. Yeah, so that was pretty fun, and let's see. I'm really enjoying the spec actually. I'm finding that. It's not one I've leveled for a while. I did switch a couple of characters to try it out, for doing dailies and stuff like that, off stream and stuff like that. And I'm finding that I'm really liking the spec, but it, like your spec, it comes through way at the end. Like one of the most important abilities is actually an implant. You have to get at level 80. Like the spec does not come through until you've gotten your implants at level 80, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, because like it's infiltration, the backstabby spec. It's very much about the opening and getting burst damage done. Mm-hmm. And one of your implants is basically like when you shadow step to someone, you have basically 4 globals. You have 6 seconds of basically auto crit. But it's one of your implants, so you don't get it until you're done leveling, which is kind of crazy. And once you have that, then it also affects like how you use your buff, your 60% crit buff. Mm-hmm. It affects which abilities you use when. Like it completely changes your rotation, and it only happens once you've got your implant at level 80. So she's not even there yet, and nor do I have the tactical either, which is also not quite as important, but kind of important as well in terms of like what it does.
There's like actually a smash spec a bit.
Yeah. So there's actually a couple of tacticals you can use. One's more PvE. I kind of did some research and stuff, and one basically adds damage to your, well, it was project, and then it gets changed at level 60. It's ball lightning if you're an assassin, and it's psychokinetic burst or something like that. If you're doing shadow, I can't remember the exact name, but it's something like that. And the dot adds a dot to that, so every 6 seconds you get this dot. When you use the ability, and that's okay for PvE. But for PvP, it instead what it does is it adds a little bit of damage to like one of your abilities, but it also when you crit with your clairvoyant strike, which is sort of like your filler ability, it reduces the cooldown on your leaping strike, which is like, or is it called leaping strike? It's something like that. It's
something like that.
Your hardest hitting ability. It normally has an 18-second cooldown, but it reduces it by 1.5 seconds whenever it crits. So you get so it reduces that a bit. And the fun part is that there's also one of the choices on the tree that I've decided to take, and it's not all the one that everyone decides to take. Some people just improve that leaping strike so that it hits harder. But there's another one that instead of making it hit harder, it takes 6 seconds off of the cooldown every time you crit with a force ability. Which means, yeah, so if you're critting with your project, if you're critting with your, I think it's shadow technique, or even certain other force abilities work as well. If you happen to crit with those, then all of a sudden it jumps your the cooldown, and it goes like if you just hit with it and it starts at 18, maybe you have no alacrity, then instead of being like 16.5 seconds, all of a sudden you're at 10.5 seconds because you crit with your project. And and it works like that really well. And it turns out that your force stun, that counts as a force ability. So if you happen to use that and it crits, it reduces it by 6 seconds. It also happens that the project eventually gets a second part sometimes. Like I think it's every 4 times it does extra damage. If that extra damage crits, it also reduces it. So it can be so one global can reduce it by 12 seconds instead of 6. And also your force slow, which is a fairly short cooldown, does okay damage. It's kind of like worth doing because if it crits, it's 6 seconds off your hardest hitting ability again. And so you can really weave in a fair number of force abilities in with your melee abilities and hit with your hardest hitting ability a lot more than anyone else would be able to. And then so that's 6 seconds off of that, but then the tactical will also reduce it by 1.5 seconds whenever your filler ability, which is a melee ability, clairvoyant strike, crits. So it makes it very tricky, and it's kind of interesting. It keeps my attention because there's some times when you're going to crit because you've used your thing, or at end game if you've got the implant, you've got these windows when you're going to crit. But a lot of the times you just kind of have to keep an eye on that cooldown to see when you can use it again, because it's been brought off cooldown by your crits. It makes it a very interesting spec, actually.
Yeah, it makes it less monotonous because you're not going to crit every time, so it's going to make it makes it more interesting, so that it's not that static rotation every time. Exactly.
So then it's like it becomes like a keep an eye out, and then every time the hardest hitting ability comes back up, then you use it right away, so that that you can then use the other abilities. And it's like if they're all on cooldown, then you use one of the melee abilities, and there are 2 of them. One is like sort of the backstabby one that does more damage if you're behind the target, but that one also has some other passive effects, so you need to use it every 15 seconds because there's a 15-second passive that it puts up, but that keeps your force going, and a few other, I think it's also like a damage reduction thing. So you want to use it anyway every once in a while. And then your clairvoyant strike, which I called your filler, but it's kind of an important ability anyway, because it does a couple of other little passive things as well.
Right.
Anyway, so it's been a very interesting spec, and it is coming together very late because like I said, the implant at 80 is going to be like, it's going to completely change how the opening works, and then it goes from there. So what happens then, once you've got that 6-second opener of critting, then what you do is you start with 4 globals worth of crits. That'll bring up your extra ability again. Then you can pop your force potency to get 3 more almost certain crits, but they're not 100%. They're only plus 60%. So if you have 40% crit, yes, I guess it is 100%. But, other than that, it's just mostly going to crit. And then after that, then you kind of swing into like the more normal rotation. And it gets it's really interesting. And you do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
You do a lot of damage. Spec. Yeah, it's really fun. So I'm really liking it. Do you usually use the 6-second cooldown, or you just use the one that makes your main ability hit harder?
I usually do the hit harder.
I think that's the default. I think that's what it defaults to, and I also think that a lot of people do stick with it because like it really does. It's already a very hard hitting ability, and it makes it hit. I think it's 20% armor pen and also 20% crit damage. Doesn't affect the chance, but I think it affects the damage when you do you
remember
crit.
What level that's at?
That's the first real choice you get at level 23.
Oh, okay.
And there's a third choice that I have no idea what it is because it would.
Oh, it's the one that looks like an eyeball.
Could be. Yeah, I think so. That's right, but I can't remember exactly what it's called right now. And also,
I always take a screenshot of my specs so I can.
Right.
And where my abilities are, so.
Yeah, and it will be a little different if you're doing Assassin versus Shadow, I mean, they're the same, but, they look different. And did you notice, like, sometimes that some of the order of the 3 abilities are different? So it's like, okay, I want this ability and this ability and this ability, but then you go to your other character and you try to match it, but you can't do it just by that. You have to actually look because they swap the order sometimes.
Yeah. I take a picture of both. I can't remember Shadow versus Assassin. I have to have both of them.
If you've been trying the harder hitting one, and that is a perfectly valid one. Like I know, like I can tell by the research, like there's definitely a lot of people who do use that one. But try the other one because it's actually it keeps you on your toes and it makes it to me it makes it more fun. And I feel like I'm doing really good damage. So at least we'll see. All right. Let's see. Did some unlocking with the sale. Burned down all my cartel coins for sure. One of the things I focused on this time was going through the crystal colors and trying to make sure I have one of each. I did a little bit of that on the last sale, but that was towards the end. I kind of ran out of cartel coins, and also like there's just a lot of colors in the game. But I bought some more crystals. Got them unlocked on one character, and then I unlocked as many as I could. And I'm going to need more. I'm going to have to wait till the next sale because there's a bunch more that I wasn't able to unlock. But at least I've got them unlocked on one, and I could always spend, if I really needed one color, at least I've already got it kind of ready to go.
Yeah.
If I need to, I can then spend the unlock to get it going.
And sometimes those crystals are inexpensive to unlock anyway. So
some of them, a lot, because there's a lot of color crystals that are considered bronze, and those are relatively inexpensive. But as soon as you get up to the silver ones, and a lot of the more modern ones are silver, then it gets a lot more expensive.
Yeah. A lot of the modern ones are really cool looking, though.
Yeah, they have some really cool ones for sure. All right. Let's see. That'll bring us, I think, to the tip of the week. And so the tip of the week is just double XP ends about 13 hours from the start of the recording of the show. So there's like 12 and a half hours left if you're listening live, or if you're very Johnny on the spot with the recorded versions, and then it's going to be gone like tomorrow morning. It's going to be like 5 a.m. Pacific time, and then whatever else that is. So if you happen to be in Europe, it might be more midday, and you might be able to get up and do some of that. But basically, it's tonight. So it's all the celebration stuff. So the double XP and the sales and all that stuff is going to go away. So
do it.
If you have a tip of the week, send it your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com for the next show to win a chance of a Talonfon M83R droid or M2B9 droid plus a 450cc code courtesy of Broadsword. And that'll bring us to the Mind Trap. And so what we asked was, what are you looking for most in 7.5? So this is a little bit after the dev stream about 7.5, and now that the test server is going. Mm-hmm. And so the answers were story, the B3S1 Basilisk Companion, the Spring Dantooine event, or other, so that in case someone wanted something specific that wasn't one of those three. We got a pretty good number of votes, and thank you everyone who voted and to reposted as well. Story won. Not too surprising. It was a little. I think it was a little higher than some of the times we've asked this sort of question in the past. 58.4% said story, but the Basilisk Companion is a pretty reasonable second at 28.3%. Dantooine Spring Event is only 11.1%. Doesn't mean no one's interested in it, but in terms of what you're most interested in, it only came in third at 11%. Other was 2.2%. But even then, most of the people who answered back were saying like story. Although one said it was Murder Dog, all about the Murder Dog.
That's right, the gun-face Murder Dog. That's
right. And I think I'm looking forward mostly to the story, but I'm definitely going to be doing the Basilisk Companion for sure. I think that'll be fun to try out and to see how it works and see how it comes along with the different styles and everything like that.
Yeah, I got a character ready to go.
Nice. How about, and which are you looking most forward to?
This was a hard one because I love the spring event idea. I really like the Basilisk, but I'm looking forward to story. I have to go story. Yeah,
that's fair.
What'd you choose?
I did choose story as well, and for me it was close between story and the Basilisk. I think I want to like the events, and I on some level I do enjoy the events, but there's just something about the way my brain thinks. I just can't I can't really, I hardly ever dive into the events really very hard. Like like I've still got a long way to go on the Feast of Prosperity, which has been around a few years and stuff like that. I usually do force myself to get like at least one of everything from the nightlife event, that's the summer event. But even then it's like, it starts to feel a little grindy. And then the Life Day event is fun, but I still don't have the Wookiee hug achievement. I have most of the ones that involve the snowball throwing, because I do that just sort of to get packages so I can buy the different, things that come out each year and stuff like that. So that part. So I do a fair bit of snowball throwing, but I haven't done the Wookiee hugging and a bunch of the other stuff, at least not all the way to the end.
I like knowing that the events are there, even if I don't participate in them. Yeah. I like knowing that they're there and that other people are enjoying them.
Yeah.
But I do the same thing. Yeah, I go gung-ho and then you're off.
Exactly. So, yeah. All right. So, it'll be interesting to see, all the different stuff that we can get from the event and see what grabs me. Because there's always good stuff. They always have fun making, new pets and new mounts and new armor and all that. All right, so that'll bring us to the Cantina Talk. This is an occasional segment we do where we talk about one of the voice actors from SWTOR. And this time we're talking about Grey Griffin. And Grey Griffin is the female bounty hunter in SWTOR. She's also in the original SWTOR. She did a bunch of other voices, and I'll hit a couple of them here. She did, if you're doing the Consular story on Coruscant, she's one of the masters inside the Noeticon of Light in the Coruscant Consular story, Master Nomi Deboda. She's also Neriel Prydence, the Jedi Knight you meet on the Smuggler story on Tatooine. You meet her several times along the way during the whole Tatooine Smuggler story, and then at the end you meet up with her and a Sith, and you can either help her or hinder her based on your choices. Let's see, she's that agent Tima Falaris, an NPC on Coruscant who's deep in Black Sun territory, and everyone can grab a mission from. It's not particular to one particular class, but anyone who's on Coruscant can do it. And then you kind of go in, you get some stuff taken care of for her, you come back to her, and then there's a darker light side choice after you finish. Do you know the one I'm talking about, Kitty?
Oh, I'm actually looking at.
Oh, the other ones. Okay, that's
I'm
fine.
Looking at the characters that she's played. I'm like, nah.
Okay, that's fine. Let's see. She plays Fasha Taral. You meet her on Alderaan in the Consular story. She's the one who agrees to a marriage to someone else, but then you end up having to rescue her future husband. She's also Kixie on the Smuggler storyline on Coruscant. She's the Mary Ellen Slicer who's been captured by the Migrant Merchants Guild, and you can free her or not by your actions, and you get some information from her. Yeah, and there's a couple of others, but well, I think that's good enough. Yeah, and Grey Griffin's done a lot of other stuff. She's like many of the voice actors out there, like just busy doing tons of stuff. So she's Daphne in most of the Scooby-Doo stuff, for the TV movies and the games. Starting in 2000, she's done like dozens of versions of Daphne in various versions of Scooby-Doo since 2000. She's also Vicky in the Fairly Odd Parents, which is pretty awesome. And the funny thing is that means that Timmy, Cosmo, and Vicky are all SWTOR voice actors. So
that's funny.
Because so Timmy, she plays Risha. And Holiday, and then Cosmo. I can't remember who Cosmo is, but he's a SWTOR voice actor as well that we've talked about. And now Vicky is the female bounty hunter. She was Selena Kyle in the Arkham Batman games, and because of this, I was really tempted to make Selena a bounty hunter because it would be it would match up the voice to the cosplay, which I thought would be really cool. But all the different specs that are tech related are they're not very Catwoman-y, like they're too gun heavy and they're too, all that sort of thing. So I did end up going with a Shadow instead, but I was very tempted to make her a bounty hunter so that, that I can match it up. She's been Wonder Woman over 20 times since 2010. So she's a regular as Wonder Woman. She was the voice of Queen Amidala in multiple shows and games ever since 1999. She was both Amidala and Shakti in the Clone Wars. She was also in both KOTOR and KOTOR 2. She was the Handmaiden in KOTOR 2, and she was Sarna, Lena, and Cassandra Mateo in the original KOTOR. And this skips over tons of other credits, TV and video games, a few live appearances, especially early in her career. That's another sort of pattern that we see with voice actors is they start with some regular work, they do a little bit of voice work, and then they switch and they just do voice work from then on. But she has been on like That 70s Show and a couple of other things, especially early on. Something I didn't write in the notes, but I also noticed was that she was on her very first credit was the original Scooby-Doo. So she's been Daphne ever since 2000, I think it was like a couple dozen times, but her very first credit was like an unnamed character in Scooby-Doo in like 1978.
Damn, she was in the Bad Batch.
Yeah, right. Yes, she's done a fair bit of stuff like all over because of that. So,
damn. Yeah. Very prolific.
That's right.
Too.
Thank you. Intezar came up with the Cosmo is Darren Norris, and he plays Galt. Yeah. Galt has a great voice, and it's amazing how different it is from Cosmo. You wouldn't think Cosmo and Galt would be the same voice actor, but anyway. But yeah, so thank you to Grey Griffin, who does a fantastic job as the female bounty hunter, as well as a bunch of other characters. And in most of the expansions, she's done one or two side voices. That's very, very typical for the main characters. They give them a little bit of side characters to do just to fill things out, so they don't have to kind of reduce the amount of hiring they have to do and the amount of complexity there is already. But yeah,
she does like 10 roles a year.
Yeah.
I'm looking at her IMDb. She is like incredibly prolific.
Yes. Like a lot of the voice actors that we see in SWTOR that we've done for the Cantina Talk. There's a few that are sort of like, we've touched on one or two that are sort of like they've done SWTOR, but then they have like this other thing, and then that sort of takes up most of their time. But mostly it's more like Grey Griffin, where it's like they're just busy doing stuff. So
good for them. It makes me happy, that talented people get work.
Yeah. So if you like the Arkham Asylum, the Batman Arkham games, that if you like the Selena Kyle, the Catwoman in that's the female bounty hunter in SWTOR too, which is cool.
We got to get a hold of her and interview her.
That would be awesome. Yeah. All right. So let's see. Let's go to the holo feed, and the Malgus Wen code for the Malgus Deco is still available until 16th of May. This is basically ending at the same time. So it's basically do it now because it's going to be gone in like 13 hours from now.
I put the code in chat, so just copy, paste it.
Yep. And it is one of the decos that had been available before, but a lot of, you have another chance at it now. There's not a lot to say, but the PTS is ongoing for 7.5. There's been updated versions released, not just the one, but they've actually updated a couple times. I understand they improved like the UI for the new Basilisk companion to make things a little clearer. And so, it sounds like they've been doing a lot of paying attention of like what's working and what's not in terms of like how people are reacting to the new stuff like that, which is awesome.
And they've been on it too. Like when that stuff comes up, they've been like getting on that and changing it, fixing it,
right,
making it better.
And there's probably the people who have seen the test server would be able to know this for sure, but I did ask a couple of clarification questions to Jackie Coe, and she got back to me. So the Basilisk companion is only a combat out in the world companion. She's not meant to be a crew skill companion. That could be changed at a later time if there's a great desire for it. But at least as of now, she's only meant to be a by your side companion. And also she did confirm that there's customizations that will happen, but no armor or weapon slots. So you won't be able to customize via changing out weapons or anything like that. It's just straight customization, which makes sense based on the model that we see, but it's nice to have that confirmed. They did let us know all the various Galactic Seasons objectives for May 14th through June 17th. We've decided as a policy on the show that it's just too much, and it's just not a great idea to go through these things one by one. Right, exactly. But anyway, they're in the show notes if you have access to our show notes, or you can find them on SWTOR.com. It's one of the most recent news articles, so it pops right up on SWTOR.com as well. And but it's been other than that, it's been pretty quiet. We're at this sort of spot where like they've let us know that 7.5 is coming, but now it's just on the test server. There's not a ton of information coming out from that since that can be relatively sort of confirmed. So that's about that. Let's see. I noticed the Rat Ghoul event is ongoing right now. I think we did talk about that on the last show, where it's one of the upcoming events. And I think that's on this week. Are you going to be doing the Dr. Loken event by any chance, Kitty?
I don't know. Jody's been really busy, and I don't want to do it without her. So
fair enough.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. We'll see. Right. I did go on that character, and I miss doing that stuff. So if it does happen, I'll post it in social media, and everybody's welcome to join us, but excellent. As of right now, negative.
Okay. And is there anything else going on with your stream that we should know?
No, I do know that you guys should really get on the ball, because my birthday is only like 3 weeks away. Mm-hmm. And, you need to get your birthday shopping done and lock in those gifts for me, because I really deserve them.
Awesome. Yeah, that's right. Well,
I'm 53, baby.
Excellent. Yep.
Yeah. But that's it, Jill.
That's right. All right. Then that's the show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Satil Shan server, or in our
Utini. I said OotiniCast.
What about the Rage?
Rage. Utini Rage.
There we go. On the Empire side. Do /C join Utini to join the Utini channel, then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using OotiniCast, or Mastodon at OotiniCast@mastodon.world. You can find contact details for us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe using iTunes and the rest. We record the show live bi-weekly Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Pacific, streaming at twitch.tv/OotiniCast. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby.
Zogby, I said Zogby.
Thank you to the chat room.
Thank you, Chad. I know I really messed that one up. I was like trying to find someone for us to raid and totally forgot that I was going to do that.
It's all good. All right.
But Kogas is on.
Okay. Let me get to where I can do the raid then, and we'll go from there. Let's see.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. We'll see you next time, 2 weeks from now.
Whoop, whoop. Let me get find. I do not like the new raid channel that Twitch has up. It makes it so weird to find things. Okay, there we go. I found Cog, though. We're good. I'm going to start the raid. So thanks, everyone, for coming. And
Bye, everybody.
Here we go. All right, let me go say hi to Cog. Yeah. Actually, let me go ahead and stop the stream, stop the recording.